Hey, hey, what day is it? What time is it? What time is it? We invented it. Oh, it's about 6:52 in the morning on the 24th of April. A beautiful day in a wonderful place here in the Haphazard Universe with your host and friend, I hope we're friends, Lance Renard. Yes, I have traversed the country. Actually, I'm still stuck in my little loop. However, I thought since I was stuck here in this, pardon my readjustment, pardon my grunt, I thought, well, since I have the time, I will go through a couple of details on this beautiful sunny day in central Minnesota. Quick traffic report. There are several people out on the road, not too many. It's a Saturday morning, and I am taking my morning drive as usual. I get up right away, hop in the car, and get to driving because that is my location. My new home. What happened? All right, I was going to let you know what happened when I went to Washington 3 months ago now to join up with a co-op out there, one of the largest, if not the largest co-op in Washington. Very reputable people, very pleasant to work with. Tucker Farms. You can Google them and order through Tucker Farms, and dispensaries, please use me as your sales representative. That's what other dispensaries are doing, and that's part of what I do here in the Haphazard Universe is make arrangements for people to better their lives in some way, one way or another. And as I mentioned in a prior video, I've worked with a good number of cancer patients over the years. And so, of course, don't want to divulge too much personal information on my YouTube channel. I just had other interests in the beginning. And those have, if you follow my channel at all, those have vacillated. The Haphazard Universe, yes. Anyway, Tucker Farms. I got out there and we worked out a few different arrangements. I'm looking forward to a prosperous future and helping assist them in these ways as well. All sides that I associate and work with, I expect to gain and benefit from my work. And pretty much go with forcing that to happen. There are ways. We have our vase. Oh, this is beautiful. I gotta show you this if I can get it here, because this white swan is flying over the swamp. It's a white heron. I'm sorry, my mistake. So anyway, right. Back to the reputable Tucker Farms. Yes, they're good people. Pardon me for trying to stick this back on here. What else? I got back from the West Coast, the videos I made to start up more Haphazard Productions in my central ops in my mother's house. And found the locks to have been changed. Not my mother. My mother's in Florida. She's a snowbird. It's my sister, who I have been cleaning up after, tending after, taking out the trash for, loaning money to, and giving every ride she needs because I'm a compassionate man, despite any negativity I might get. Not all negativity, which is what led me to go to Tucker Farms, because I could not handle the constant upkeep of my sister, who refuses to hire a PCA, which I could be paid for, personal care assistant. But it's all quite strange. So I get back from Washington, the doors are locked in the house. I'm paying insurance on that house. All of my registration, the car, everything, my license is at that house. So this led to me checking with a cousin of mine whose property you've seen to say, hey, I'm not sure if I'm even going to be here that long, so why don't I just, give you a couple of months rent and we'll take it easy. Give my sister her space, be a good man and all. And so, right, at the same interim, I was contacting my son, who I hadn't ever actually met or gotten to know because of his mother saying that I was going to kidnap him and do all sorts, made him fear me early on. And I decided that rather than show up and start battling with his mother about what a good person I am, just to let my son grow up and look and see the differences between her and other mothers and make his own judgments. And then, so when he said to me about 2 years ago, what took you so long? I told him exactly what I just told you. And he could understand the logic. And at any rate, I am interested in my lineage to have some form of, success in their life. And my son 7 in Seattle is doing fantastically. Has a great arrangement in his life, and I have had contact with him throughout his entire life, and I've been able to guide and help, him in his, paying the bills, getting things set up, getting things started, but he has done so much on his own. Now, you can't really compare two sons, but my point is now the musician son has got it going on. 30 students, working with the 8 bands, writing and composing for symphonies and orchestras. He's quite prolific. You look him up on YouTube, 7 Sky Music. And comment and subscribe. The kid's amazing. He's 20 years old. Now, my other son, Peter, is an artist. And so in order to propagate and show different avenues of art, display, creation, and also sales, I began to work with Peter. Right. Well, he's 25 years old. He's already got his own ideas. He's already focused in on his own ways of production and releasing things. And so I can only give advice that I consider to be sound and tangible, applicable advice. Like opening up a shop in a town where a lot of property owners, which I do. And I have these connections and capabilities to, it's a fortunate life that I've had because of all of the varieties of places I've lived and how they're all coming full circle now. The universe definitely communicates to you, or to me, to all of us. However, where was I with Peter? Propagating his artwork, giving him advice, and showing him different avenues and techniques in art. And that's what I showed in one of my past videos. Just scratched the surface, though. There are so many forms of art. When you get into woodwork or steel crafting or, go ahead. Yeah, I do all forms. I love art. I love to work with earth and change the earth. And the earth loves to be changed. It does. It's like, you changed me. And especially if you change the earth to something that, flows, inspires, gives a creative, positive, energetic sort of lift, or the mindset of just getting the gears to turn by looking at something, just brief. You can look at something and see how much time has been put into it. In a way, you'll see time versus talent in just looking at something. I'll show demonstrations of that in the future. However, I wanted to let you know what happened when I got back. Doors were locked up. I just said, okay, that's fine. I'll keep the address, but I'll hang with my cousin. And now I have other opportunities to keep people working and thriving, achieving, making money, and handling their pain. So I am still working in those avenues, focused on those. The work I tried to do with Peter, I can't say it was futile. I can say that you can't fill a full cup if it's already full. And then, of course, I have not just my son to contend with or deal with or communicate to. I have he has an association girlfriend that they're pretty much attached at the hip. In the 2 years that I've been getting acquainted with my son, I've spent a total of an hour, maybe hour and a half, with just he and I. In the potentially, I don't know, 500 hours that we've spent together. So, not 500, maybe 300. So yeah, still getting to know him. The irony of this is that my mother, who's coming back from Florida now at this time of year to go live in the house in Minneapolis, my mother, when I was young, she told me, I grew up without a father, and she told me that I didn't have a father. He was not here, he's dead. And at the age of 17, I found out that he wasn't, and neither was the entire family that didn't exist, that I was told didn't exist. And fortunate or unfortunate as it may be, at the time that I found out that my father was actually alive, World War II sniper, decorated war hero, and I found out he was still alive, I was tripping on acid. And I am acquainted with lysergic diethylamide, or at least at the age in those years. I did a lot. Conservatively 1,000, 2,000 tabs, just because of my constant access. There was 1 year that I did 2 or 3 every day. Oh, I'm sorry, it was 2.5 years. I get it mixed up. However, the controversy that people go into some kind of psychotic rage, it's personal. It's kind of like if you get angry, you've decided to get angry. That was your decision. That wasn't something causing you to get angry. It was your decision. And so many people assign whatever they've done, well, the alcohol made me do it, or the acid made me do it. No, you made your own decisions while you were, aloof in the mental mindset. So that's in dealing with acid. But finding out that my father was actually alive was the beginning. Why was I being lied to? Became an issue later on. Of course, I found my father. I've known him for probably less than 2 months of my entire life, as far as conversing, being able to spend time and communicate, maybe 200 hours. And he was very secretive about why she lied. He was secretive. So now I'm thinking, okay, they're making me guess. They're both making me guess, and that's not ever a good thing, because when you start guessing about stuff. But the clues that my father gave me, and he was kind of a cryptic individual. These people have been sitting at these stop signs. I was a mile away, and they were sitting here, and I don't know if they're like making hand signs to each other. It's Monticello, man, I'm telling you. I gotta get out of here. But with the father thing, they were. Mom wouldn't say anything about it, and my father, the only clue he gave me was, ask your mother who Rebecca's father really is. Now, that you can make certain, deductions from, rather than assumptions. And Rebecca, I have 2 sisters, quote unquote, 2 sisters. One passed away, and she was a producer of the Channel 11 News in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Nancy Edelman. She passed away, and the circumstances behind that too, I'll definitely make a video about. However, Nancy and I look alike, dark hair, dark skin, and dark eyes. Now, my sister Rebecca, the one father brought up, she has blonde hair, light skin, and light eyes. So that should tell you something. Sorry about the railroad tracks there. So that got me thinking and looking at, I should have the genetic test done, and I will have it done to prove or verify my suspicions. unfortunate as they may be, reality stands as it is. And I have to live and deal with my life as I see fit, proper, and how it relates back into my children is very important to me. And honesty, truth, integrity, valor, they're important to me. And if people step out of line in those relations or ways, I notice it. I don't always... I notice it. I don't always mention it. I find myself into a constant angst. But getting back into the father details where he says, I ask your mom who Rebecca's father really is. And then in an argument I was having with mother, I'd say a year and a half ago, I mentioned to her, I don't believe Rebecca is my sister, my blood sister. And she just shut her mouth. She just didn't say a thing, like she was hurt. So these family dissensions, is it really important to dig up, the negativity? Not for the sake of negativity alone, no, but for the sake of knowledge, to know the truth and the truth of people, and to look at it, to be able to handle it, deal with it personally, and your feelings, your hearts, your emotions. That's not always such an easy thing to do. You look at somebody else's life, or you look at mine, and you think, yeah, I could have told my kid that his dad was dead. Why would you do that? And especially this particular man, as I got to know him, he had such honor and integrity. He was a World War II sniper and absolutely refused to talk about any missions, to talk about his, achievements and, Purple Heart and such. And he was an amazing oil on canvas artist, the most amazing artist. And of course, I don't even have a piece of his work, because I do have one piece that I sent to Seven, because somewhere out in the world, somebody had one of my dad's paintings and said, I'm going to contact this guy's family because this is such a cool painting. They would probably want it. So she looked up the name Lance Renard, and found me, I don't know, it was 4 years ago, 5? Might even been longer. At any rate, this woman mailed me my dad's painting that had been over her father's bed, the bed that her father passed away in. And it's a beautiful painting of a nude woman. I will try and post it when I'm able to get back online, get back to my system, and somehow what you call normalize my life. Right, so a little bit of family history, a little bit of what's happened here in the past 3 months and how things have reacted. In the strangeness of my sister, I brought up the fact that she is most likely, the father is somebody else, and I'm pretty sure I know who the father is. And, divulging personal family secrets isn't the idea here, but I've always liked to listen to other people's situations, and mine is like, wow, man. You guys can start guessing right now. My mom comes from a family of 14. She wanted me to change my name, to her family's last name. My name itself, Lance Renard, is an alias that my father used. Interesting indeed. And after he had gotten out of his recovery, never really did recover from the war, but he had been lit on fire, and he had he wasn't disabled throughout the rest of his life. I'm sure he was to some degree, but he was too proud to talk about his stuff. He had bad burns on one side of his body. Apparently he had gotten lit up after throwing a grenade into a tank at some Armand bridge or something. But the thing is, Dad he had too much pride and dignity to talk about that sort of thing. And, I lost my train of thought. He's a hell of a guy. A hell of a guy who was mistreated But the thing is, I had to consider to myself, why would he allow himself this type of mistreatment? Especially when you've got the chutzpah to go out and be a sniper for the 86th or 82nd. I think it was the 86th. I know so little, but what I do know, I value. Why would you allow that type of treatment? You've got to consider that. So then I started looking at, okay, my sister Nancy was born, and then my sister Rebecca was born, and then I was born, right? And then I started thinking about the stories Dad would tell me, and it was like, he would say, every time your mom had a child, she would disappear. We'd be living in New Orleans, and she'd have, let's see, who was the first? Michigan. Okay, Nancy was the first. She was the reason they got married, and she was born in Michigan. And then Rebecca, I believe, was born in Illinois. But what was happening was Mom would disappear with the baby. So when Nancy was born, Mom would disappear and go back to the farm in Minnesota, where her 10 brothers and sisters also resided. And, probably say what an abusive bastard Dad was. Whatever reason she went crying back to the farm with Nancy, I don't know. But she went back to Dad, and then Rebecca was born. I'll start putting this together. Now, Rebecca's a little baby. Dad's like, all right, we got a baby. She's beautiful. I can't wait for her hair to darken and her skin to darken. It'll only be a couple of years, I'm sure. And, right. And then I came along about a year later. Oh, Dad, sorry about that. There's craters here. Welcome to the surface of the moon. So, I'm thinking that Dad was waiting for Rebecca's hair color to change back. Or, to get dark. And, beginning to notice that wasn't happening. She got blonder and blonder. And, of course, then he had me, dark-skinned. I mean, I looked like a little, pardon my term, Indian boy. Dark-skinned. I had a full head of hair when I was born. Dark, black hair. Just like Nancy. But not Rebecca. I think you people may be putting this together, and I know people, if you're from Stearns County, you've already figured it out. Look up Stearns County Syndrome. Yeah. The unfortunate realities that we have to live through in each one of our lives are individual, and they're ours alone to deal with, to handle, to communicate about, and to get on with whatever the situation may have been in your life, in my life, and what had affected me in my life. And I'm fortunate and blessed to have a great memory. And so, right, there's a lot more that I can convey, but I think I've given you the information as to why I'm locked out of the house that I live in, and I'm good with it. And I'm actually living with the same family of, that Mom wanted me to change the name. Because this one individual I consider the culprit, father, is father of 14 children, and drank heavily, was an absolute renegade tyrant, and taught each one of his children, who I live with now, to be the same. Bodily functions and regurgitations are prize-winning to these people. The intelligence level is so far below a hole in the swamp, and it's actually the display of that intelligence that continues to baffle me daily. So, right, I'm looking forward to getting out of here, to propagating good futures for good people, and, have a great day. I will continue on with the details of the haphazard universe in my own perspective, and, right, if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Talk to you soon. Like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to share if this gives anyone a good feeling or knowledge. Thanks for playing.